Hi, Danie. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good. You look amazing
Thank
as
you.
usual. Well, welcome, Danie, to the Fashion Roundtable live with We
Woo!
Want to Know Wednesday. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. You look great too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you look amazing. I think it's been a while since I've seen you, but we're
Yes.
going to jump. Look, you've got some people on saying hello to
Hi,
you. You
everyone.
got
It's a
fans.
little
Okay.
bright over here. Hi,
Wonderful.
guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, we have some returning guests, so I love that.
Yay.
I want to jump straight into this and just ask you, what is it that you do, and like, what's your mission?
So I own and I operate Hol Looks hair and makeup studio. I started out in a studio space and it evolved into production work. So I started consolidating my kit and becoming more travel friendly and kind of sticking to my roots a little bit. I kind of grew up in the fashion industry, so it seemed very natural for me to move like really fast pace.
Right.
So I transformed my business basically into just traveling hair and makeup, and I subcontract or freelance most of my clients. I have a big base of private clients as well, but yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
yeah, thank you. We basically, from time to time, I have people who are willing to assist me with big projects and things of that nature. Just try to keep the community involved as much as possible. So,
Wow, I love that. You know, we call that a triple threat. When you're
yeah.
hair, makeup, and you travel, that
Yes.
in this industry is a triple threat. So that's awesome. I want to ask you, you said that you own and operate Hol Looks. What does that stand for? Like, what does that mean?
So I derived the name of the company from holistic principles and holographic concepts.
Wow.
I've always been interested in vocabulary. I took Latin in high school, and I was just kind of doing a little play on the phonetic spelling of the word whole, which is what holistic practice is about. I try to concentrate using products that are not tested on animals. I try to use products that are, paraben free, good for your skin, lightweight, but still give good coverage. I try to use hair products that are more ethical, less aerosol, as much as I can possibly do, just to minimize my footprint,
Right.
There are a lot of ethical companies that have emerged in the past few years, and I think that it's a really awesome trend. So it seemed very natural to name my business after what I believed in.
Right, right. That's amazing. Making sure you reduce that footprint,
Yeah.
giving back to Mother Earth is really a great concept, I think. And I do think a lot of people are jumping onto that and realizing how important it is. So that's great. I want to ask you, do you have like your tried and true products, or are you kind of, I know you mentioned that you've been using more, do you just kind of try everything, or do you have your go-to products?
Well, I've acquired a couple of brands over time that have consistent results for me. Early on in my career, it was a lot of trial and error because with, old-fashioned formulations, products that are over the counter, you get more consistency because they're more artificial.
Right.
And it's a more generic application. So I definitely had to step out of my comfort zone on certain products and make it work, whether it wanted to work in that moment or not. But I've got
flexibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Fortunately, when you go to school for cosmetology, you get a strong base of chemistry and pH, and you learn about ingredients. If you pay enough attention, you can take some tips along with you that help out on application. So I stick to Too Faced and Tarte most of the time. they have some amazing setting sprays that I just can't get over because the fragrance of them, as soon as I use them on my client, they're like, what is that?
Right.
I love the way that smells. And it is kind of, you know, it's like the finishing touch on the process of the transformation.
Right.
So,
you talked about coming from your roots. How did you get your start in hair? Like, what made you just go into this?
Well, when I was pretty young, like 7 years old, I was followed around a shopping mall. I think it was the JCPenney store. And my mom was like, what is this woman doing following us? So she stopped by the time we almost got to the car. And she's like, is there something I can help you with? And the woman's like, your daughter is like really tall. And I'm actually a modeling scout. And I didn't know if she might be interested in doing some modeling for these department stores. Wow. So I started in that. And I don't know how many people have been in the industry that long, but back then, one of their favorite things to do for children models was to give them gift bags every time they would do the department store runway show. And I just got obsessed with all these like awesome products that they would give us and these beautiful shoes. So I was very klutzy and clumsy, but my height saved me. And so I segued out of runway, fortunately, because it wasn't my strength. And I kind of pursued it privately in the Tampa Bay area growing up, just meeting people who were local brands and startup companies, and volunteered for organizations to raise money by hosting fashion shows. And I always had this strength in helping people with their hair and makeup backstage. So that was something that I pretty much assumed the role for almost every time. And as I got older, I bartended for a long time. So I had, you know, gotten very efficient at things, and people kept saying, why don't you just go to school for it? Why don't you just go to school for it? Right. And I don't know, I just finally took the leap. I sold makeup at one point in time for Unique, which is where I got a lot of the information about natural ingredients. And once I started selling that makeup, I realized how much I actually knew just instinctively, and how much people valued my honesty about products and suggestions and consulting with them. And so I decided to go ahead and go for it.
And that knowledge is so important, because a lot of us, you know, lay people, we don't know. And so we are looking for someone who is knowledgeable. And we all know that in the industry, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades behind the scenes. You have to kind of know how to do hair and do makeup and know a little bit of all of those things. So that's really cool. My next question to you is kind of a segue into what we just talked about. How important is development and training and being on top of trends for your industry and what you do?
For me personally, and professionally, it's probably one of the biggest reasons that I haven't expanded yet. I have tons of, you know, contracts and paperwork and procedures and policies that I've been working on over the past couple of years to really refine my interactions with people who I work with, and to come from a place of representing my company, right? I'm speaking on holistic, I'm speaking on healthy. Like, I don't want to overwork people, I don't want to underpay people, you know. I have to take that entrepreneur part of being a freelancer and launching businesses, as well as take on that part of what is ethical and what makes us leading edge as, you know, respectable hair and makeup artists. So it definitely plays a huge role. And what was the other part of the question?
I was just asking for that development and training, and then trends. Yes, absolutely.
So the development and training is definitely a huge aspect. And then trends, I'm honestly very flippant when it comes to trends. I took art my entire life. I learned the foundations of form and shape and rhythm. I like to think that I'm a very adaptable person. And although I think that trends are relevant from a consumer standpoint, I don't think that it really is a part of my particular niche, because I like to concentrate more so on the technical skills and dexterity more so than recreating what others are already doing. I'd like to be a trendsetter, not so much as a replicator.
Right. And everything kind of comes back around, and then you put your unique spin on it. So knowing those foundational things always kind of puts you on trend anyway, right? Because classic never goes out, and having that skill set and that foundation. It sounds like you are really focusing on your professionalism, especially. And then ethics is really important, because we all want to know that we're getting something quality and that people care about that. Look at that. We got people coming on here. Everybody's tuning in. Welcome to the Fashion Roundtable. We Want to Know Wednesdays with Danie Fuller. She is schooling us. She is dropping knowledge. So while we're talking about that, let us know, like, do you have any advice for new people coming into the hair and makeup industry? If you were starting now, what would you tell your younger self?
If I had to tell my younger self, it's really just about, keeping an open mind and making the connections. That goes in a couple of different directions. Making connections with human beings, building a network of people who support you and trust you is important, but making the connections between the information that you acquire and being able to apply that almost scientifically to a lot of different realms, that you can really get a cohesive knowledge and be able to be one of those top performers. And listening skills are so important.
Wow. That's some good little tips there. I hope that all of you who are thinking about becoming hair and makeup artists, that you just took that little tool and put it in your tool belt, because that really is some good information. Listening. It sounds so simple, but so many of us really just don't stop to listen. So I'm so glad that you shared that.
It's fun sometimes to challenge yourself too, if trying to be a high performer or trying to be efficient, because you have to be respectful of people's time in this industry. It can become almost like a personal challenge. You want to do better and better. So you want to shorten your client time so that they feel like they got a really high value experience. And you also want to be able to retain a lot of information in a short amount of time while still giving undivided attention and value. So it's fun.
That undivided,
at least for me,
makes us keep coming back, right?
I love my relationships with everyone in this industry and my clients. Like, it's a family to me. So I try to embrace it and be present in the moment.
Right. Good customer service skills and interpersonal relationships will bring people back every time, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll drive further away for a good interaction and good customer service than something right down the street. So those connections really are important. So I want to ask you, what do you find to be the most challenging aspect of being a hair and makeup artist?
People, on bigger sets, more people, more interactions, more of a hierarchy system can be a little difficult at times, because you have to take into consideration that you got a client brief from people who don't know anything about hair and makeup, really. They have a character, or they have an embodiment of a certain type of leader in a business that they're seeking, but they sometimes can give you generic guidelines, and then you try to deliver, and then when you feel completely finished and you're satisfied with your work, sometimes people in different levels of that hierarchy can be like, well, I didn't think it was going to be like this. Can you go ahead and do this? And so sometimes you feel like you're done, and you're just never done. Like it's an ever evolving, ever changing, very dynamic experience.
Right, because it's perspective.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of times what people think looks good and is on paper, it doesn't always translate in real life, right? And
Yeah.
so we have to keep educating people and helping them understand that. Are you ready for your We Want to Know questions?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Okay, good. The first one is, what is the best, you just gave us some advice, but what is the best advice that you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've ever gotten. I think a lot of people have probably heard this in some way or another, but it really is to just do what you love. It's been difficult for me in this industry to say no to things that I knew that I wasn't passionate about. People ask sometimes, well, what's your specialty or what's your favorite part of doing hair and makeup? And I literally just say the transformation. I don't want to do just hair. I don't want to do just makeup. Like, I want to make an impact, and I love the transformation. And it's something that I think for me is a huge representation of like touching people's lives and building confidence in someone and showing them like this enhanced version of themselves. And it's about transformation. So doing what you love, what you truly love.
Right. And
being able to say no. Yeah.
I like that you said the enhanced version, so that it's not like making someone over to be something that they're not, that you're just enhancing upon what they already have. And passion, though, that's what stood out to me, passion. I do think you have to be passionate about what you do. You have to love it. When you said it, you were smiling. It's like it resonated, it came through. So I definitely think you are passionate about it.
Thanks.
So my next question for you is, what are you like the queen of? Like, what do you just slay? Is it color? Is it cut? Is it makeup? Or is it extensions and weaves? What or other? Is there something else?
So some people might not agree with me. I'm not really sure. If they don't, they haven't said it to my face yet.
Okay.
What I like to think that I pride myself on is brow correcting. I really enjoy it. I love the geometry that's involved with it. I love how eyebrows, you know, they're almost like a picture frame of the whole look. They tend to like, they're so expressionistic, right?
Right.
So when I come in contact with people who are usually uncomfortable about their brows, I'm like, no, we got this.
I love that.
So I would personally say it's probably brow sculpting.
I love that. I've never heard anyone say that, but that is one of the most difficult things to get right. It's like, are they sisters? Are they cousins? You know, one's higher than the other. It's a really challenging thing. So the fact that you said brow correction, like, just made my eyes light up, because I think so many people need that and they don't even know that that's available. So
I have had my own personal horror story from when I was in cosmetology school, and a young lady needed someone to model for her, and I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't, you know, my brows are everything.
Right.
And she swore to me. She's like, I won't mess them up. I won't mess them up. And she sure did mess them up. And so I think I have this soft spot, and I was determined to fix brows when necessary, because I just know how bad it feels. And I have to do my eyebrows, full eyebrows, every time I do my makeup now, or it just doesn't look right anymore.
Right. So it frames your face too. And I went through that 90s stage where we all like plucked our eyebrows to death. And then we were like, how do I get them back now? You know, so
I've tried everything. Yeah. I've tried everything.
Pictures and I'm like, what happened? What was I doing?
Your brows are beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm hiding one because one's a little lower than the other, but we're gonna count. Smoke and mirrors.
Okay. That's what it all is, really.
It really is. It
all
really is.
Hair and makeup tricks.
So if you guys are listening and you need brow correction, the first thing is admitting it. Okay. Sometimes we don't know it. So admit it. And then look Danie up. Okay. Yeah. She's going to get you straight. She's going to get you right, because it really does frame your face. And that's a skill that you want. I have to ask you, if you had your choice of makeup, are you a natural makeup person? Are you full glam, the beat to the gods? What do you get asked the most of, and what do you enjoy doing the most of?
I do full face makeup on every single client.
Okay.
From start to finish, every product that's necessary to complete a look.
Okay.
But I pride myself on making it look natural and subtle.
Okay.
I've had clients in the middle of their service be like, I just feel like you're putting a lot of stuff on me. I don't wear a lot of makeup. Like, I'm really nervous. I'm uncomfortable. And I'm like, I hear you. Just wait, and then I'll finish the look and they'll be like, oh my God, like, it looks like this is my real face. I'm not even wearing anything, So that's definitely, I try to find a balance. I like to, work with the person's natural features and just kind of enhance that, not highlighting and contouring is very popular, and I understand the appeal. I personally like a little bit of authenticity, so I try to be more, try to blur things out a little more, keep it very subtle.
Okay, I like that. I just was wondering, so you do that full face on everyone. Do you get asked for a lot of glam, or do most people want just like a full natural look?
Well, I do boudoir photo shoots, so I do a lot of full glam.
Okay.
But being in production, you have to be able to build in a little bit of suppleness and dewiness to the skin without creating a flashback or too much shine from really bright lights for filming or certain photo shoots. So it really depends on the situation. It does. For boudoir shoots, I contour a fair amount. Okay. But I know the nature of the photographers that I'm working with. I know that the style of lighting that they work with. And so I'm able to say, I can go a little extra heavy on a contour on this particular client based off their skin tone and the type of lighting that my photographer uses. So there's a lot of Sherlock Holmes kind of moments.
But you know what? It sounds like skill. Mm-hmm. It sounds like doing your homework and acquiring a certain level of skill. Yeah. And that's what it comes back to. It sounds so knowledgeable. I'm like, okay, next shoot, let me just put, get Danie.
Get me, please. Get me out of this house. Get me out of this quarantine.
I skipped over this earlier, but I do want to ask you about it because I know that so many of us have been impacted. I don't want to pretend like this isn't happening, that COVID-19 isn't happening. And now that the world is opening back up and we're phasing back in, like my nail technician, I was just like the biggest tip that I could write to my nail technician. But there's so many of us that have gotten a new appreciation for our stylist after going for so long without that interaction. Yeah. How has COVID-19 impacted you as a person and your business?
Oh, man. So my boyfriend is also a hairstylist. So he actually was mandated by the county before I was fully impacted by anything. Okay. And it kind of immediately sunk in that we're both in the same industry.
Right.
Only one of us, is technically eligible to apply for unemployment from traditional structure.
Okay.
And financially, we were just kind of like, let's get some groceries and kick back and get to know each other.
Okay. Netflix.
We had no idea. Yeah, we had no idea. And it was a touch and go situation on his part, and on my part, ethically, I couldn't, I have a kid in the house. I have my boyfriend in the house who has a low immune system. There were so many factors that,
right.
I couldn't put myself out in that world at that point in time. And even right now, my boyfriend's gone back to work, but everything in the salon is completely different. And, I'm grateful that we have a source of predictable income right now. Mm-hmm. But as a freelancer, I applied for small business administration loans. I didn't get approved because the size of my business, you know, I'm not a top priority, but I was taking every shot that I could take. I'm like,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know, whatever sticks to the wall, let's just run with it.
Absolutely. This is real. It's a
Yeah.
real thing.
Yeah.
And so did you have to, when you started to regain clientele, did you have to adapt in other ways, health-wise, for
Yeah,
yourself?
absolutely. I had to start having like screening questions because my contracts are made in advance.
Right.
And I coordinate typically with a third. I don't talk directly to every client. So
Right.
I had to start screening in advance, and it almost tripled the amount of time that it takes for me to consult with people, because I had to, you know, I had to be a little more cautious. So that screening
Right.
process was longer, and um, moving into the studios and everything, making sure that everything's extra sanitized, and
Right.
having hand sanitizer available, and having the masks, and just, yeah, it's very different.
It's
I
a
haven't even
whole new
gotten back
way.
into, yeah, I haven't even gotten back into large scale production stuff, or big photo shoots, to know how that's even going to go, and who even really is going to regulate it. You
Right.
know, it's
Right.
such a bizarre facet of the industry to be involved in, where I'm still just kind of like, let me know, guys.
Right. And it's new ground for a lot of us. And it's almost like we're kind of making it up as we go. And you
Absolutely.
have that obligation ethically to protect your client, but also to protect yourself and your family members. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you shared that, because this
Yeah.
is really happening and we're being impacted as an industry and as individuals. And I think sometimes for people to hear that stylists are thinking about that. You know, it isn't just a paycheck. You're thinking about that for yourself, but you're also thinking about it for your client and wanting everyone to stay safe. So that's awesome. I'm glad that you shared that. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
being so transparent about what that looked like for you and your boyfriend, because it's scary for a lot of people, right? Some
Yeah.
people were impacted more than others. So thank you for that transparency.
You're
I want
welcome.
to ask you, what do you want your legacy to be?
I think that the biggest thing for me is to integrate all the knowledge that I've acquired, being somewhat free spirited and maybe a little liberal in my feelings about the world. You know,
Right.
I want to make an impact on the world in a positive way, and this is just a stepping stone for me. Um, I like to touch people's lives when I interact with them doing hair and makeup. It's not just about seeing the work and being proud of what I've accomplished, or even you know, making someone feel technically pretty or beautiful. It's about truly being able to connect with another human being and letting them know how valuable they are. Um, Even if, most of the time I don't even wear makeup. My boyfriend was kind of making fun of me earlier. He's like, "You look chic." Not that you're that chic. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You never wear makeup. You wear as little clothes as possible. You're just like a little hippie. You're bohemian." And you know, I put it together because that's what I represent. But deep down inside, my soul, my spirit has a yearning to really uplift people. And
Wow.
in the long run, I'd like to have my own products and my own skincare, hair care, makeup, fragrances, things like that, and a little piece of property with a retreat where people can come and experience, you know, relaxation and tranquility. And there's like a certain nature inside of me that really thrives off of that kind of interaction with people. So
Wow.
it
Sounds
means a
like
lot to
building
me. So
people. Sounds like building people, and we need so much of that today. You answered my next question about what was next for you, and it sounds
yeah.
like products and creating this spa type of environment, which is amazing. Where can we, as we end this, how can we get in touch with you? How can we book you? How can we connect with you? Because connectedness, you talked about a lot today. How
Yes.
can our watchers, followers connect with Danie Fuller?
Thank you for asking. I'm currently operating off of most social media platforms. So Instagram and Facebook are up currently. And
Okay.
that's Hol Looks for Instagram, HOLLOOKS. And for Facebook, it's Hol Looks Hair and Makeup Studio. I will be launching a website soon. I kind of put things on hold with coronavirus happening, in the process of bouncing back and getting back on track with that. So I'll be launching some natural skincare products soon, some soaps, and just something to kind of have a little piece of the internet for myself.
I love that. I love that. Danie, thank you so much for coming on to the Fashion Roundtable Live. I know you had some nerves going on today, but this has been such a teachable moment for so many of us, and we value your time. Thank you for sharing, and we wish you the best moving forward in your business and getting back on your feet and launching those products, because we can't wait for them. Have a great evening.
All right.
Thanks, Danie.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Fashion Roundtable, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have an amazing lineup for June. So those of you who have stuck with us, that are coming back Wednesday after Wednesday, you have a lot to look forward to, from spoken word artists to real fine arts artists, as well as models and designers in the month of June. So, and even more after that. So it's just growing and getting bigger. We love that you've joined our discussion. Continue to come back, and please, please, please stay safe out there. Remember to wear your mask, wash your hands, and social distance. Have a great night, you guys. Bye-bye.